Well, emergency management is the county's emergency planning and training branch. We take a look at large-scale events and how we would respond to those in a county-wide response. And we also are responsible for our emergency plans and to make sure that we coordinate with other county agencies so that we are able to handle any kind of disaster that should befall the county. The Emergency Operations Center is really the hub of control at a 30,000-foot view level, strategic control of an event. And we try to assist the folks who are responding to that event with anything they may need as far as resources, personnel, whatever else they might need from either within the community or outside of the community to respond to that particular event. The Emergency Operations Center building obviously has technology and other capabilities that need to be kept ready to activate at any time, and that's one level of readiness. The other, of course, is the staff, and that's a little bit more difficult. We talk about staff training. We try to do that on an annual basis prior to the hurricane season, because really when you think about it, a disaster is a disaster is a disaster. Something happens, we have to respond to that and recover from it. So no matter what we use as a basis of our training in the Emergency Operations Center, it's going to help us really be able to respond to any type of an event. This past year, we tried to look at some specific types of events, so we developed what we called our Public Safety Symposium, brought together a working group of representatives from across the county and key county planning agencies, response type agencies, law enforcement, fire, etc., and looked at a list of potential large-scale incidents that would cause interaction between our responders county-wide. We chose active shooter and response to severe weather as the two types of events that we would talk about during that symposium. From there, the goal was to build an exercise plan for the rest of the year. We selected for our exercise event an active shooter drill, and we worked very closely with the Polk County School Board, choosing Lake Gibson High School as the facility. We brought together over 500 educators at that building to observe what was going on, and we had, in order for them to observe, we had set up cameras inside the building and used the cameras, or the building's own security cameras, to film what the team was doing, how they were responding, the actual SWAT response team. We do inspections every year on hazmat facilities around the county to make sure they're safe and make sure the hazmat materials are accounted for and handled in a proper manner. This county has one of the highest number of hazardous material sites of any county in the state because of the mining and because of the fruit production, things like that cause us to have those types of materials on site to do those productions. Requires a constant vigilance as far as inspections. They're handled well, they're properly transported, and has not been a problem, but again, anytime you get man involved in something like that, something could occur. We do inspections at least every other year on every facility in the county, mapping what they have at those facilities, how we get in, where the stores are located. We give those to the fire department, so if they have to respond to something, they have maps and so forth that takes them exactly where they're supposed to go, what is there, and how they would affect the response recovery from that particular type of material that's in there. As far as weather plays a key role, especially in a hazardous material incident with regard to wind and rain and things like that, because the weather can cause the impacts to be lesser or greater depending on what the effects are. If you've got a release of some kind of chemical that would cause a gas cloud to emerge and you've got a wind driving that, then you can certainly affect a large number of folks. However, if the same event happens during a rainstorm, those impacts can be mitigated by that. So it's important that we monitor the weather. It's important, and something that we do and have done for many years from this office is send out a daily weather report to probably over 5,000 different customers across the county. Social media is kind of a new game for us. We do have a Facebook page, we do have Twitter information that we send out when something occurs or in preparation for an event that may be coming up. We try to get that information to the public and look for what kind of responses they might have to something that we do put out. It's a great option for us in a society now that is really leaning toward those social media avenues to get their information, to get things out to that portion of the population. Again, we will continue to use the media, continue with other forms, a website and so forth, other forms of disseminating our information, but this is just another tool in our toolbox. Now, we've been very fortunate over the past 10 years that our major threat of hurricane has not impacted us, and we were very fortunate up until 2004 that it was 44 years since the last one. Again, a very vulnerable area, vulnerable to any kind of a major storm like that, and we've been very lucky. But again, it really just takes one storm for something to happen. So we will continue to beat the drum preparedness for ourselves, for our partners in our response community, for our public, to make sure that they're aware of what they need to do and what the threats are and what can happen to them and how they can best prepare for that. We hope nothing does happen. We certainly will prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And again, if something should happen, then we're ready to respond.